back to my channel. Welcome back to Sonia KE. Thank you so much for supporting me up to this far. Oh my god, it's been overwhelming. I love interacting with you guys. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Kindly please do. I'm looking at my road to 1000 to get monetized, so kindly please, if you haven't subscribed, please do, and share and like and comment and interact with me. Today is story time. You know, I love those stories that I tell from my past that I learned from, and regret certain things about, and also enjoy certain things about. I have a story to tell, and the reason why I tell these things in stories is because it almost gives you a perspective and gives you the ability to have the correct judgment about what's going on, because things are different. Just because it happened to me like this, it doesn't mean we cannot make conclusions from one story, but one story can be a lesson to somebody else, especially now that I'm focusing on my younger me and just trying to help young girls live better lives. Story time. There's a time, a long time ago, I remember I was telling in primary, in class 7, 8, we were in, those who know, Bondo. But I want to avoid really putting people's names in it, but just tell the story as it is for the sake of the lessons that are going to come out of this story, because the idea behind the story is that I want to share certain lessons, and I want people to, especially young people or even mothers or fathers out there, to hear so that they can save their girls if possible, because some of these things happen even now. We lived in a family, we were many, yeah? But then there was a funeral, and this funeral happened somewhere far. And I remember it was a funeral of one of my, like someone close, yeah? They had died. So when we went, it was a long story. It was December, so we had gone to our shags, and the funeral had happened somewhere close to our shags, so we all went there. But when coming back, I remember me and my bro came earlier. I think it was even before the burial, because the person who died was like just an uncle, but for the sake of us being many, and then maybe financially in terms of transport, how we were going to go back, it would have been really hard to juggle. And I'm very proud of my mother and the lady who really held us down during that time. She's like, how I celebrate women. I know I digress, but as I continue to share on YouTube, maybe people will get to understand more about me and learn how some women have really had an impact in my life. This was a woman who, wow, I don't even know how she was doing it. Me, up to date, ish, women, me that kind of strength is not even nice anymore, yeah? But she held us down. She was a primary school teacher. We were many, we were so many. But anyway, we survived. So at that time, what I'm trying to say is that we had to come back earlier, me and my bro, and then the rest remained. But that's not the point. The point is on the way back. So these guys, I think, had dropped guys at the funeral, and they were coming back all the way to Mondo. So since they knew my aunt, we just decided to, she decided to let us come back with them. So it was a long journey. I remember it was these matatus that you see facing each other, the grey ones. I don't know what they're called. The ones from a long time ago, people used to sit facing each other. Those matatus. So and there were two guys. So the driver and somebody else. So when we got midway through the journey back, they decided to start doing public transport, like carrying people and carrying and dropping them off. So with that, they needed space in the back seat. So they told me to come and sit in the front seat. So you see the front seat, there's the one on the door, and then you're in the middle one that you look almost sit. Today I don't like that seat. I don't like that seat. Yeah, especially in Nissan, it's you like this, you is up there, yeah. So I'm sitting. So they told me to come and sit in the middle seat so that I could leave more room on the back seat. So my brother remained at the back alone. But remember the way those vehicles are, there's usually a small window here that when you look back you can see the person at the back. It's just a small window, like a small window like this, you can see someone at the back. So I kept on looking at the back, and I could see my brother seated at the corner, just holding that thing like this. And the vehicle was not, it was just holding that like a rail on the matatu like this. People would come, sometimes people are many, you squeeze. Sometimes he'd be alone at the back, but I was sitting in front. And here in front is where there's a story. Are you still following the story? Comment, share, like, subscribe. Anyway, so at the front, I'm sitting at the front. I remember there were two guys, the driver and this person at the end, and I've been made to sit at the middle. So we are coming, the vehicle is coming. At some point you talk, they ask you, nini. I respond, and then it started getting uncomfortable because this guy on the side who was not driving started touching me in a way that was not appropriate. I was so scared, I was so afraid because these are people I met on that day for the first time, and I'm not sure what the relationship was with Aunt, or if she just knew that we were going that direction. So this guy started being inappropriate and getting touchy. He'd touch me, he'd do, I'm like, no. And I kept on doing this to my, it was just a very, very uncomfortable ride. That was sexual harassment, if you ask me. Because, you guys, things that we go through. Anyway, so we went all the way. I don't know if anything happened to my brother because he was at the back and we really never got to talk. I didn't ask him. But long story short, throughout the journey, my God, I wouldn't say I was raped, I wouldn't say it got that bad, but that touchiness, it was awkward because at some point they were now trying to lift my dress, especially this guy was sitting on this side of the door. And I remember trying to pull it down, and then laughter, sometimes they're, like laughing and clapping their hands and talking funny talks. And they got so nasty, they started saying, sexual things to me. And I remember there was no phone, I didn't have a phone, there was no way of reaching me. And I think we were still in primary school, yeah, because if it was one of us, definitely still in primary school. Yeah, it was a very long, awkward, painful, torturing journey. The reason I'm sharing this now is because sometimes as parents we put kids in situations where they will be compromised. Sometimes it's not even willingly, or it's not even something you've thought about before. But the lesson that I want you to learn from this as a parent or as a young person listening is that there will be situations where even good men will not be good. So you need to be careful around what you do. The only thing, and the reason why I feel they didn't go far, is because there are those in and outs or stops and things like that. And then it was also on the road. Unless they would stop, and I felt like they wouldn't stop and do anything to me because my brother was at the back. He was so small, he was so young, there's nothing you do about it. But they didn't want to have a bad image still with my aunt. But you see, they crossed the line and they did things that we're not supposed to do. I don't even know them, I don't even remember how they look like, I don't even know their names. But I remember that incident so well. You see, that's why these things are also painful and they torture, they torment us over and over again through our lives. We live regretting, and they didn't get bad, like they didn't touch any parts that they were not supposed to touch, but they got inappropriate, and I remember that scared me. And let me tell you the bad part, and the part where I would advise people not to do. I didn't talk about it. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't say anything. I didn't mention until now. I kept quiet. Why did I keep quiet? First, I felt like it's normal for men to behave like that because those incidences are not a one-off thing. Number two, so where we went, we got home, it was okay, everything went on as usual. The burial on this end ended, and everybody came back home. But by the time everybody was coming back home, I felt like there was more energy and more focus on what had transpired at the funeral for me to bring this up. So there was no environment for me to start crying and saying this happened to me. There was no that relationship. In those days, you know how we used to live. So to parents of girls and to parents of young girls, don't put them in awkward situations, even with the best of men. Even with the best of men, I'm sorry to say this, but don't put your girls in awkward situations like those. If you are fixed financially, get a way around it. But that's just maybe someone who's listening to me, and I know people listening to me are probably able to do things differently. Technology things have changed, times have gone. But even at this point and at this time, I know the challenges of girls are different. Having sat at the places that I've sat and represented young women and girls in different forums, I know weird things happen, funny things happen, and usually it's just about environment and trusting people too much and assuming that everybody is angelic. No, no. If you're a woman, if you're a girl, if you're a father, if you're a father, it's now your responsibility to take up this issue and make sure that you bring up your girls in a way that they know. I was about to say men and dogs. I'm sorry now. That they know that in every man there's a beast. I'm sorry to say. Given the environment, given the chance, oh my god, there's beastly things happening inside men, or even women nowadays. But just try to create an environment where girls can talk, raise them to know that certain things shouldn't happen to them. Because even at that time, I don't think if it was okay to come and start saying somebody touched you, instead of it being taken as a mistake of the other person who trespassed, it will be your mistake, or you'll be looked at as onge. That's what we say in my tribe. Like they know a lot, or they are sexually active now. You'll be shamed for it. You'll be brought down. Again, I'm not blaming anybody for that, but that was the way things were at that time. So please, talking is important, because sometimes it's by talking, it might help somebody else, or it might also help stop those people. Because maybe if they didn't go that far with me, how do you know whether they went far with other girls? We have to speak. We have to encourage our girls to speak. We have to create environments for them to speak, and we also have to live in a society where everybody feels like they're home. There's dangers facing girls everywhere. I'm sorry to focus this on girls today, but it's because having grown up in the environment I've been, I know it's harder for girls than it is for boys. It is the responsibility of the men that are watching me to make a difference. This is not a girls only channel. This is not a women only channel, but it's a channel especially for men to learn how to make things better for the people around them, how to not cross those lines, because those people cross the line very confidently, knowing that I'll do nothing about it, which is not right. Things have changed and we have avenues for making things better. But that's a story that I wanted to share today, and I'll be sharing more of such awkward stories and how I got myself out of them. For now, subscribe, like, share, comment. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I love you all. See you guys in the next one. Bye. Mwah.